In today's video, I wanted to talk about Paldean Fates. Now, there's a few interesting things happening with Paldean Fates, a little bit with the singles and a little bit with the sealed. One thing noticeably getting close to 151, so I want to talk about that specifically. But first, we have to start off with the Bubble Mew. There's no way we can't start off with the Bubble Mew, the most valuable card from the set. And this card's on a bit of a decline right now, which once again isn't to be like it's not a surprise, right? Because this card had very explosive growth. It shot up, it went from 260 up to $420, and cooling off, albeit even though it's down like $50 right now, it's still massive gains. And a lot of the times this is what we see when cards shoot up big quick. They retrace, they cool off, people go, oh, I have that card, and then they list, and then people are fighting pricing down to the bottom, right? So we'll have to see where the bottom for the Bubble Mew is for raw near mint copies. But for right now, you can see in the past month, once we get a little bit more time on us, this chart will update, and then this will be back here and we'll be down a lot more than 3%. You can see, but a lot of sales happening right here as the card is declining. A lot of supply available too on the Bubble Mew, 133 copies currently available on TCG Player. You can see lowest listed. If you want to go to a starred seller, we'd have to jump all the way over to page 2, which would be around 385, which is above current market price. So we'll see where this card bottoms out, how long it bottoms out for, if it levels out, or if it goes on another run, because we've seen a lot of cards do that, go on a run. And if we zoom out to the 1-year chart, obviously you can see we're coming off of the all-time high for the Bubble Mew. I mean, a year ago, this was a $75, $80 card. It had a few little shoot ups. It shot up to 300 before and then came back down to 260. So that's what I'm saying as far as what we're seeing right now. It went from 300 and then it dropped almost $40 before its run up. So dropping 50 right here could just be a temporary pause for the Bubble Mew. Extremely popular card. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think it's going to level out, or do you think it's going to go on another run like it did right here in December? That would be very interesting. So we got the Bubble Mew. PSA 10 sales have come down a little bit recently. We have these are the last solds as of this morning. This is the most recent one, 915. But before that, we got 870, 860. We'll call this one 900, 920. This one's best offer crossed out, so we don't know. Then so upper 800s to low 900s is kind of what we're seeing on the Bubble Mew PSA 10 pricing. Now, I did pull up the population report so we could talk about that. It's right here, number 232 Mew EX. 18,000 cards being graded with 8,000 10s and 8,000 9s and 1,200 8s. So that's what we're seeing for the Mew. Also, we talked about this a long time ago, but you can see they got the special illustration rare missing texture error. 13 graded 10 10s. So those grade really well, apparently, but extremely rare for the missing texture. So we'll also talk about the Charizard. That card's coming up next. But we have 18,000 graded, so similar, very similar to the Bubble Mew, but a little bit higher gem rate, 9,200 10s versus 7,400 9s. So very comparable, though. There is more Charizards out there, but comparable number being graded for this card, the Charizard. Now, this is a card from the set that I was arguing, well, if the Bubble Mew's at this price, or let's say when it was at 400, if the Bubble Mew was at 400, I was thinking, oh, well, maybe the Charizard should be closer to 3. Which at one point it was at 220 when the Bubble Mew was at 400, so it was closer-ish. But this card's coming down a little as well. You can see 220 down to 202, so just like a $20 drop. Similar thing. This card's shot up big. It's still up almost 40%, right, in the past 3 months. You can see in the past month it's down 5%. That'll be more once this chart updates in a few more days. But once again, this is a normal thing. So if you're newer to the market and maybe you bought right here and you're freaking out because these cards are going down, this is kind of normal after explosive growth. And you can see if we zoom out right here too, on the 1-year chart, coming off of the all-time high right here for the Charizard, you can see as it was just over $100 card for a long time before the big market boom happened. and still a lot of copies of this guy available, 176. Supply pretty high. Lowest listed from starred sellers is right here though, 205, which is just a tiny bit above market, but matching those this most recent sale. Most recent sales pretty consistent, 200 or just barely above. So very consistent on the Charizard right now. So it kind of looks like it's leveling off. Like this is the bottom right here and it's leveling. So yeah, it looks like that this might be it. We'll see. We need more sales and more time to fully suss that out. But PSA 10 pricing, on the other hand, much more affordable. Obviously, it's a cheaper card, right? But PSA 10s are around 500, albeit there's more PSA 10s on the market by about 1,000, but that's not too many. You can see this was improperly listed because this is a 9, but it says listing says PSA 10. Pretty much around lower to mid $500 mark. Pretty consistent on the Charizard PSA 10s. Then this is the thing I wanted to talk about. This was the thing in comparison to 151 that I found was interesting. It's just a little nugget, right? It's not anything too crazy, but booster bundles. Paldean Fates booster bundles are up 45% in the past 3 months, and albeit, while that's impressive, that's, it's not necessarily the fact that it's up. It's how close they are to 151 booster bundles that I thought was interesting. So obviously, if you zoom out right here, we're at all-time high, right? 140% growth on the year. Paldean Fates booster bundles doing really well. $58. You can see 200 listed. Lowest listed from starred sellers. You get through just a few sales here, not that many booster bundles, till you get to around $64 right here from this starred seller. So that's the interesting point, and we can see last solds. There are some in the 60s, but upper 50s, lower 60s on the last solds. So look at where 151 booster bundles are at. This is a little interesting. $65, and I get it, but the point I'm trying to make is, this is already pretty close to 151, pretty close, and once you get here, once we're in the 60s at $64. If the 151, because see, this is what's happened with 151, right? It's kind of been since early to mid-January, it hit in that $60 mark, and it's kind of just been holding around $64, $65. That doesn't mean it's not going to run, but you can see, we're listed right here, at upper 60s. So this might finally be pushing into the $70 mark in the near future. So just something I wanted to point out, Paldean Fates right on the heels of 151 as far as booster bundles go. I know there's tons of other products and there's a big gap, but if you compared the sets, I don't think anybody would be like, not that Paldean Fates isn't an extremely fun set to open. You got all the shinies, it's really fun, but it doesn't compare to 151, in my opinion, at least, as far as, sets go. And you can see obviously the gains on 151 on the 1 year chart. It's just coming off of its 1 year high, right? So, a year ago, these were $32, but so Paldean Fates nearing it on the booster bundles. There's some other stuff like the PC ETB. It's not really even close, right? The 151 PC ETBs are $400. These are almost $200. Once again, this is not a comparison to 151 versus Paldean. Just something I found that was interesting when I started looking up some of the sealed pricing. So PC ETBs, they got a nice promo though, nice looking box. The Mimikyu. Popular enough Pokemon, but 107 up to 193 just in the past 3 months, 80% growth. Now, 80% growth is pretty big, even in this current market. And, you see the stair-step effect happen here. It went up to 155, and then for a while it kind of stagnated and cooled off around upper 140s, lower 150s. And now we're seeing, we're on the heels of a $200 box. So you can see there's 200 sale here, a lot of 198s, right? So we're right there. For the PC ETBs, you can see lowest listed's 192, but you go a few listings down and we're at 200. So it's an inevitability at this point. You can see the supply being a lot lower, right? Only 38 boxes currently available on TCG for the PC ETBs. Now the regular ETBs are still up pretty big, right? These ones just cracked $100 recently, and we're up 62% in the past 3 months. You can see from 63, 64 3 months ago. Up to 105, sales being above 100, a little bit below. It looks like mostly above for the most part. So looks like that's holding, regular ETBs for Paldean Fates over $100. Lowest listed from anyone is 109, and then after that, you're getting into the 110s pretty quickly. So it looks like these are going to continue to go up if those are the lowest listed as items sell. So regular ETB is getting expensive, PC ETB is getting expensive, booster bundles nearing 151. So the sealed is in high demand for Paldean Fates. Sealed is in high demand for any product at this point, just because it's hard to get your hands on anything. Also, the Gardevoir, I think, is a very nice looking card from the set, and I've been very vocal about liking this card a lot in the past, but this one's on it peaked right here around 94. It wasn't able to crack $100. I kind of would have liked to have seen it crack 100, just comparatively. You got the Mew and the Charizard, and Gardevoir could be 100, but the market said no, this is not a $100 card, and it's kind of just petered off a little bit, tapered off right here. You can see in the past month it's down almost 8%, 7%. It's just kind of declining, upper 80s, a little slow decline. So we'll see if it bottoms out, where it bottoms out. But it is a nice looking card. I like the Wooper in the background. But lowest listed, it looks like it might be coming up based off of lowest listed just a little. Lowest listeds are 90 and then 90 and up. So might see the bottom on the Gardevoir, but it's a nice looking card. We could talk about PSA 10s on this card as well. These are mid to upper $200 sales, it looks like. You can see we got a 289 crossed out, 290, 250, 260, 280, 270. So definitely upper $200 mark. This one was probably a pretty good deal at 252. Everything else has been selling higher than that. So this is we can go back to the pop report and just double check in on this 233. It should be on this page as well. Yeah, so the Gardevoir right here, almost 8,000 copies graded and 4,300 10s, just to give you an idea of how many PSA 10 copies are out there, what's been going on with the Gardevoir. I do think that, once again, it's a nice card. I like the Gardevoir. I like Gardevoir as a Pokemon too, so nice looking card. Definitely a lot more affordable in a 10 comparatively to the other big two chase cards of the set. Then we got to talk about some of the lesser cards to end off the video, and we'll kind of talk about the set as a whole. But the Pikachu, shiny Pikachu, starting to get expensive as well. Cracking right here, cracking the $50 mark for the shiny Pikachu. You can see a lot of sales right here too at the around $45 mark. But 3 months ago, this was a $30 card. Now we're seeing just under 50. It's dipped a little bit. In the past month, it's still up 15%, but you can see a lot of those sales right here. February 10th, 37 items sold at the $45 mark. That pushed it up to just over 50, and then it's kind of come back down to around 48. We can see, we'll pull up the last solds. Last solds are a little bit all over the place. You got 40s right here, then you got a 35, then you got 40s, then you got a 62. Then you got 40s, then you got a 60, then you got 40s, and then a 50. So last solds are kind of all over the place. It's a nice looking, the baby shinies are nice looking cards. It doesn't surprise me that it's popular. So, it makes sense. If you pull up the 1 year chart though, it's a little interesting. You can see back here, 31 shot up as high as 46. So kind of close to where we're at now. And then it kind of just free fell all the way down to 25. So we're technically coming off of the 1 year high. I'm assuming that might be the all-time high. If we had a little bit more chart here. But yeah, we're going to say that just for the sake of this video, kind of coming off of that all-time high. And lowest listeds are around mid to upper 40s, which kind of aligns with the market price there on the Pikachu. Then we have, oh, I wanted to touch on the tin. Sorry, I snuck this tin in with some of the last cards. I didn't mean to. It should have been sooner in the video. The Charizard tin is one of those products. Like, I'm not a big tin guy as far as like sealed collection goes. I have some, but this was one where it had a nice promo and just the tin looked really nice. This was one I liked a lot. And this one's up, not as crazy as some of the other gains that we've seen, but it is continuing to climb, up 30%. 3 months ago, this was a $52 tin, and now we're at 67, 68. Listed medians at 85, and low quantity available, 27. So this tin's probably going to move. You can see the last solds being in the 80s. 85, 80, 80. There is a 75, a few 60s, and then kind of 70s and 60s. So lowest listed, I would assume, would be higher. Yeah, you're getting into the 80 to potentially even $100 mark down here pretty quick for these tins. But for reference, if we look at the last month, you can see there's a lot of sales right here. 33 sold, and then before that, not a ton selling per day, just a few selling every day. So we'll see where these tins end up. But I do like, for a tin, I think these are nice looking tins. Then the last few cards I wanted to talk about was the penny. This is the penny. This is a special illustration rare. Still very affordable. Sub 20. It just dropped recently. But you got the. It's interesting because we have that Eevee deck box coming out, which kind of looks like her backpack, and then you do have an Umbreon featured in the card, with the Pokeball centered up nicely. It is a nice looking card. I'm not a Penny fan, not really a trainer fan in general for the most part, but I do like the Umbreon in the card, and it's up 133% in the past 3 months, going from $8 shooting up to as high as 22, and it's kind of came down a little bit, sub 20. A lot of copies currently available for the penny, right? If we zoom out or check out the last solds, pretty consistent, $19 sales. There's a few 17, few 18, but pretty consistent $19 sales. And you can see it's not really up that much on the year. It was on a free fall for a long time, from March all the way till November is when it free fell, and then now it's shot up big, probably because a little bit of prismatic, a little bit of speculation plays, stuff happening there. It's got an Umbreon in it, right? So we're coming off of this high, and it's, once again, it's a nice looking card. I don't know where the ceiling is on this card, but it has come down a little bit, and it is available for sub 20. So it's a nice little card. If you're looking to, once again, I don't do speculative plays that much with singles, but I don't think this card's going to run that much, but it does have an Umbreon. There's a high supply, so keep that in mind. But the penny's up big and it's cooling off a little bit. The Snorlax, shiny Snorlax, up 78%, which is pretty big. It's coming from a $13 card up to, it's coming off of 25 down to 24. 59 copies available, so a little bit lower quantity than some of the other ones. Like the penny had 250 available. Snorlax only has 59. You got mid 20s here, which kind of matches market price right here. If we zoom out on the 1 year, you can see this card peaked previously before in June, just under like $18. Then it came back down to 10, and now it's on a pretty big run up to around 24, 25. So, this is where the set kind of, once again, it's not a comparison to 151. It's not really a competition, but the set kind of falls apart after the first few cards, in my opinion. Not that it's not fun to open, because I like, you got shiny Ditto, you got shiny Entei, you got all these shinies. They're super fun. It's a really great set to open, but just comparatively, you have like 3 really nice special illustration rares. The Iono, not as much. Like none of these other, they're fine, right? Like the penny I like, the Arven I like, the Iono's fine. I think I like these two more than the Iono personally. And you got tons of baby shinies, but it just doesn't have the depth, really. And so when you say like, oh, booster bundles are kind of close in price to 151, close-ish. I get they're still a ways apart, and I just go, I don't really see how that is. But it is a popular set. I mean, you got Mimikyu, Charmeleon. It's a fun set. I'm not denying that. But I just thought that was an interesting little anecdote of comparing the booster bundle pricing. So today's video was all about Paldean Fates. I didn't really expect to make it about Paldean Fates. I just woke up and I was just on. Actually, I was trying to get the Best Buy Blooming Waters drop this morning. I wasn't able to get in. Unfortunately, I was in line, then they sold out. So, unfortunately, I think that's kind of what's been happening for a lot of people, but at least I try to give myself a chance. So yeah, I got on here, was just checking out stuff that was going on, and I just noticed that, some stuff was down, but some stuff was up. And so, yeah, I wanted to talk about Paldean Fates. I feel like we haven't done it in a minute. So, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the set as a whole, with like the Bubble Mew coming down, the Charizard coming down a little bit, a lot of the cards coming down, but the sealed kind of coming up. Let me know what you guys think of the set as a whole. I know it's really fun to open, but where does it rank? Where does it rank for you guys on this era? I'd be interested to know. But that's all I have for this one, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. And remember, it was never FaZe.